submitting your general distinguishing number application via eLICENSING. Your application for your dealer's license must be submitted electronically through the Department of Motor Vehicles eLICENSING system. The Texas Department of Motor Vehicles no longer accepts mailed-in applications. The online application submission must be completed correctly and in full. The application may be signed by the business owner or an authorized representative. The application must be signed electronically or by hand using what is known as a certification of responsibility, which I will show you here in just a few moments. Failure to complete any portion of the application may prevent the application from being submitted. Correct dealer license applications will allow the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles to grant your dealer's license in a much quicker manner. Mistakes on the dealer application submission can lead to substantial delays of your dealer license approval. The individual completing the application is answering truthfully all questions, and all those questions apply to all partners, LLC members or managers, any directors, officers, or owners of the business, not just the person that's completing the application. Some owners and partners may not even be listed on the license. The person whom completes and signs the application is representing all owners truthfully. You must complete all information truthfully and correctly. Filing false statements of material fact on a dealer's license application can lead to the denial of the initial application, possible suspension of the dealer's license in the future, and can even lead to possible criminal charges. Be sure all the information you enter on the dealer application is truthful and correct. Remember, a correct dealer license application will lead to much quicker dealer license approval by the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. You will need the following documentation before you submit your application through the eLICENSING system. You're going to need your employer identification number or your EIN, and I'm going to show you how to get your EIN a little bit later in the course. Your dealer surety bond number, the name of your bonding company, and the effective and expiration dates of the bond. The power of attorney provided by the bond company will also be needed in addition to the bond. So I want to repeat that. Don't forget your power of attorney with your dealer surety bond. So you'll submit your dealer surety bond plus the power of attorney that's provided by the bond company. That will also be needed. Scanned copy of driver's licenses, passport, or official ID cards for all owners and managers that are listed on the application. A lease or proof of property ownership, a business photo clearly displaying the exterior of the business structure and the business sign is also a required item. A copy of your 6-hour dealer educational course certificate of completion, and you'll easily be able to download that once you've completed the entire training course. In addition to the required documents, you may need some additional documents as well. So for corporations, limited liability corporations, limited partnerships, limited liability partnerships, they would need a scanned copy of all corporate and or registration papers that have been filed with the Texas Secretary of State's office. And we're going to cover that process extensively later on in your course. Sole proprietors and general partnerships need the scanned copy of the assumed name certificate for each DBA, and that stands for doing business as, that was filed with the county that they're operating in. And also, if a corporation, limited liability corporation, limited partnership, or limited liability partnership has filed an assumed name certificate, they would also need to file a copy of that assumed name certificate as well. You will need a social security number if you're applying for your dealer's license as a sole proprietor. But if a sole proprietor has employees, then an employer identification number is needed and may be used as well. Social security numbers may be used if the sole proprietor is the only employee of the business. A certificate of occupancy will be required if your city or county requires a certificate of occupancy at the location that you're having your dealer's license. Any previous GDN numbers that you or any partners have held in the past. You would also need your converter license number if you're applying for an independent mobility motor vehicle GDM. You'll need a scanned copy of any facts pertaining to any criminal history of any officer or partner on the dealer license application. Scanned copy of any court papers that verify adjudication, dismissal, or decisions made regarding the criminal history of any officer or partner on the license application. And I want you to be aware, if you need to obtain copies of any court documents explaining criminal history, you should contact the county or the district clerk's office in the county where that offense occurred. The Department of Motor Vehicles would also like you to know the following are acceptable forms of identification on your dealer license application. That can be a current driver's license, a United States passport, a United States Armed Forces identity card, a state-issued identity card, or a Texas concealed handgun license. Remember, all owners and managers listed on the application must provide an acceptable form of identification. By the way, I want you to be aware, if you are leasing the building where you will have your dealer's license, you must have the lessor and lessee business names, complete business address for the rental office that you are leasing from. And that would include any suite number, if applicable. You would have to have the lease term, the lessor and lessee signatures. Remember, if you do not own the property, the lease must be for a minimum of 2 years. So if you log onto the eLICENSING system without all that information, you will not be able to complete your dealer license application. Before we get started, I do want you to be aware that GDNs or dealer licenses are city specific. If you are relocating to a new city, then a new license, including a new bond, would be required. And I want to repeat that. Your dealer's license is city specific. If a dealer ever relocates to a new city, then a new license, including a new dealer surety bond, would be required. You know, when you're using the eLICENSING system, it's recommended to use Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox because other browsers such as Edge, Safari, and Explorer do not interact really well with eLICENSING. So make sure that you're using either Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. Remember earlier in the course, I showed you how to download Google Chrome, but you can do the same easily when you're downloading Mozilla Firefox. So make sure you're either using Chrome or Firefox. And you know, during the application process, you must upload several documents, and you can always save these applications later, but you are going to have to register an account. Then you're going to receive a username and password. First, you may access the licensing section at txdmv.gov, and then you can just scroll down on that page and you can click on the eLICENSING log that you see right there in the dealer's box. And this is in the brand new redesigned Texas Department of Motor Vehicles website you see right there. So that's one way to access eLICENSING, or you can go to the website where you signed up for your course. Remember, that's texasdealers.com. Then scroll down on any page and click on the Texas eLICENSING link, and you can easily access the eLICENSING system from this page. And then you're going to land on the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles newly redesigned website with a link to the eLICENSING system. So now you just click on the log into eLICENSING link, and then you're carefully going to read that security pop-up that displays over the login page, and hopefully you'll accept those terms. Now, you're going to scroll down under the Register Here If, and you're going to click on the Join eLICENSING button, and then you're going to click on the green Join eLICENSING. And now you're going to enter your contact information and your business information here. You know, I want you to be aware that the business name for a sole proprietor is the legal first and last name of the individual. It's not the DBA name. This is a common mistake, so I want to repeat that again. I want you to be aware that the business name for a sole proprietor is the legal first and last name of the individual. It is not the DBA, which is doing business as. So, you know, now your account has been created, and you will definitely need to check your email, and then you're going to receive 3 emails from the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. One email contains your assigned username, one email contains your password, and a third email has a login link. So check your email and then click on the login link, and then you're going to enter your username and password, and then now you'll easily land on your account page. And I want to spend some time going over these different sections on your account page. First, as you can see at the top left, you can view any applications that you may have saved by clicking on the My Applications section. You can apply for a license, which we will do in just a moment. You can also renew your license when it comes time to renew. And you can amend your license in case you need to notify the Department of Motor Vehicles of any license changes. such as maybe you are amending your license from a wholesale dealer to a retail dealer. But remember, you would need to meet all requirements for the new license type that you might be obtaining. So you can also order dealer metal plates and stickers. You can view your license in place. You can view any type of pending cases involving your dealership. You can click on dealer replacement to replace a license, and you may also close out your license if for some reason you would like to close your business. You would need to close your license. You may change your general license information, such as contact information. You can view protests and complaints. You can make a payment to the state if you owe any money, and you can manage your account. Say, for example, maybe you want to add users. So we're going to apply for a new license. So you're going to click on the apply for the new license link that you see at the top left there. Next, you will see all types of licenses that we discussed earlier in the course. In just a moment, you will click on the independent GDN license link. You can apply for a salvage license. Remember, a GDN license now allows you to operate as a salvage dealer as long as it is at the same location. You can apply for a lesser license when leasing vehicles, franchise license when selling brand new vehicles, a lease facilitator license when acting as an intermediary between the customer and a business that's leasing the vehicle, a distributor license, an in-transit license, a converter license, and a manufacturer's license. So I want to show you how to apply for your independent GDN license. So you will click on the independent GDN license box at the top left there. Then you're going to select the organization that you just registered. And I want to bring your attention to the top of the screen here. You can view what part of the application process that you are at. And as you see here, you are starting with our account, and you will go through several steps before you are able to actually pay for the dealer's license. So you will always know what part of the application process that you are at. So next, you're just going to click the green Save and Next button. And I want to explain some information here on this page that you see right here, okay? Because it can be a little bit confusing. You know, contact license information, okay? On the application contact, this information is used by the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles licensing specialist to review and resolve any issues with your initial dealer application. License contact. This information is used to contact the license holder once the license has been approved. And then e-tags. We're going to cover e-tags a little bit later on. The person listed here will be the account administrator for the separate e-tag system that's used to issue temporary buyer tags and things like that. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. So you want to make sure and complete all of that information, and then you're going to click this Save and Next button to continue. Now you're going to select your application reason. So most of you will be selecting the apply for a new license choice. However, you may be amending a license in the future. As you can see, your amendment choices here, such as you may be relocating your dealership, changing a business entity, or maybe your previous license was not renewed. But like I said, this first time that you're applying, you will probably be selecting apply for a new license from the drop-down box. Then you're going to click Save and Next button to continue. And on this next screen, you're going to see GDN types. So for this training scenario, I'm going to check the motor vehicle box at the very top. And as you can see, if you scroll down, you can also apply for other types of dealer's licenses. Okay, there's a lot of different ones there, but I'm assuming that for this training scenario, I'm going to show you how to apply as a motor vehicle dealer. And you know, I do want to take just a moment and explain some ownership entities. A sole proprietor is one individual, and no other individuals may be listed as a business owner. If the business is a general partnership, then the ownership information for each partner must be listed. For business types that file with the Texas Secretary of State, all owners and operating members must be listed, and the information must match exactly the information that is on file with the Texas Secretary of State. So on this screen, you're going to enter your information. You're going to enter your contact information, your phone number, and email are required, by the way, and physical address of the dealership must be entered as well. You will need to click on the Validate Address button to validate your address. If your business license cannot be validated, you can submit an address verification letter from your post office or a 911 verification letter from the local city or county government office. That would be the zoning or addressing division is also acceptable if for some reason the business address cannot be verified. So also, if you want to do additional locations, you would certainly be able to select that as well. Now you're going to select whether or not you want to order metal dealer plates. For this training scenario, I will select that you want 2 motor vehicle plates. You know, if you're a motorcycle dealer, then you could order motorcycle plates instead of the full-size motor vehicle plates. Now you're going to enter your ownership information, and I want to spend a little bit of time on this screen as well, because this screen is a little bit confusing. If the business is owned by an individual or an individuals, then you will list the person or the persons who own the business in the individual ownership section. Okay, I want to repeat that, okay? If you're going to be a dealership, if the business is owned by an individual, then you're going to list the person or persons who own the business in the individual ownership section. The business ownership information only needs to be entered if one or more businesses own the dealership, such as, let's say, for example, Business A and Business E are the owners of the dealership rather than individual persons. If the dealership you are opening is owned in full or in part by another business entity, you would enter the information into the business ownership section. You would only complete this when the applicant is owned by another business. In the management section, a manager is only required if the business is owned in whole or in part by another business, in which case at least one operating manager is required to be listed. The management section is basically a static section of the application step and can be accessed at any time following the business owner section. So the user is not, taken or redirected to the manager section. So otherwise, a manager is not required. So to make things simple, for this scenario, I'm going to complete the individual ownership section. And this would apply to you if you are the owner of the business, or perhaps you and another person or individual own the business. And, by the way, as a reminder, if you do have multiple owners, be sure the ownership percentage always equals 100%. So for that scenario, if you're an individual and you own the business, then you would check the add owner box. And then you're going to scroll down and answer these very, very important questions. And remember, you must answer all questions truthfully. The first question asks if any person has been convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor. The next question asks if any person has received a deferred adjudication. I'm going to try that one more. Adjudication. I'm sorry, I mispronounce that sometimes. For a felony or misdemeanor offense in any state, out of state, or federal jurisdiction. And the final question asks if a person has been court-martialed. If you answer yes to any of these questions, you will need to submit additional paperwork involving those cases. And as we discussed earlier in the course, necessary court documents can normally be found at the county or the district clerk's office in the county where that offense occurred. On the next page, you will be asked several more questions. So be sure the questions are asked correctly. Depending on how you answer the question, you may see additional questions or instructions drop down due to your answers. Remember that questions are applying to all partners, LLC members or managers, or any directors, officers, or owners of the business, not just the person that's completing the application. So first, you're going to be asked if you're a military service member or veteran. The DMV will waive application fees for members of the military if the applicant currently holds a license in another state or has held a Texas dealer's license in 5 years and relocated due to active duty military service during that time. Military members may separately qualify for an expedited license process as well. Answer if you've held any licenses previously, if you have had any applications denied. Answer if you've held a dealer's license at that address previously. You are then asked if you have a sign visible to the public with the dealership name in at least 6 inches high or larger letters. And as a reminder, wholesale dealers must have a permanent sign mounted in the front of the business structure with 6-inch high letters, just the same as retail dealers, or
They may affix a sign with 2-inch letters near the entrance to the office if the landlord does not allow exterior signage. So that would just apply to wholesale dealers. Do you have your business hours posted that meet the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles requirements? Do you own or lease the property and agree to submit documentation to prove that? You're then asked if your business property meets all local zoning laws. Have you obtained all the certificates of occupancy for the location? You were then asked if the property is a residence, apartment house, hotel, motel, or rooming house. Remember, a dealer may not operate out of a residence, apartment, hotel, motel, or rooming house. If the office is located on a residential property, then remember the office must be in a separate structure and it must meet all local zoning requirements. Answer if you've ever been disciplined with the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. The question applicants must answer about Texas Department of Motor Vehicles disciplinary history applies to disciplinary action under the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, and that's all codes under the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, not just the occupations code. You were then asked if you have an office area with a desk, at least 2 chairs, internet access, a phone listed with the number. Remember, the dealer phone number may not be shared with another dealer, and wireless access is acceptable for the internet. And don't forget, state law does require that your office has a desk and at least 2 chairs. So make sure that you're always meeting that requirement. You're asked whether or not you are a manufacturer. And finally, do you have a display area with room for 5 or more vehicles? So make sure that you answer all those questions truthfully. Now you're taken to the attachments page where you will start uploading your documents. If you do not upload all the required documents on this page, you will not be able to complete your dealer license application process at this time. So first, you're going to upload your lease agreement, which is a copy of the lease or any property ownership documents. Then the business photo clearly showing the full front of the business building. The photo should include the permanently mounted business sign as well. Be sure that the photo is taken at a distance which allows the entire structure to be viewed. Proof of identity, which could be a copy of your current driver's license, U.S. passport, U.S. Armed Forces identification card, a state-issued identification card, or a Texas concealed handgun license for each new owner, officer, or general partner listed. Certificate of incorporation filings with the Texas Secretary of State's office. You will then upload a copy of your dealer course certificate of completion, and you'll be able to download that at the end of your course. As a reminder, the pre-license training requirement applies only to dealers with an independent motor vehicle GDM. These dealers are licensed to buy, sell, or exchange used cars, trucks, motorhomes, neighborhood electric vehicles, recreational off-road vehicles. Those are ROVs, ATVs, and UTVs, which is a utility vehicle. All applicants for new licenses and renewal applicants licensed less than 10 years will be required to take the one-time training, okay? And most persons applying for their license on a renewal were required, but there are some that are not. The licensing training requirement does not apply to independent motorcycle dealers, independent travel trailer dealers, independent mobility motor vehicle dealers, utility trailers, semi-trailer dealers, wholesale auction dealers, salvage dealers, or franchised licensed dealers. The certificate is going to show that you have completed your dealer training course, and this shows the state that you have completed your mandatory training, so you are legally able to apply for your independent motor vehicle GDM. So you'll also upload a copy of your bond, then enter your bond number, your bond company, your bond effective date, and the bond expiration date. Then finally, you will upload the power of attorney from your bonding company. This is one of the most forgotten parts of the application process. So not only are you uploading your bond number and your expiration date of the bond, but you also must upload that bond power of attorney from your bonding company. So you're going to click the blue upload button and then you can click next, save and next. Next, you're going to see an extensive summary of the dealer license application you were getting ready to submit to the state. So you definitely want to spend some time on this screen. Make sure that you go over every section in its entirety to ensure that all information is true and correct. Double check to make sure that all of your answers to your questions are correct as well. And next, you're going to enter your first and last name, your social security number, the state that issued your driver's license, your date of birth, your driver's license number, and then you're going to enter your audit number, which is near the side of your picture at the bottom of your driver's license. You need to make sure your audit number is correct because the audit number is often submitted incorrectly. So I want to show you that correct number. As you can see on this example, the audit number is at the bottom of the driver's license. The DD stands for document discriminator. Do not include the DD in your audit number. Just enter numbers only. Do not enter any letters here. Letters may not be used in an audit number box. Otherwise, this would prevent you from electronically signing your application. Now you're almost done. But I need to make sure before you can e-sign the electronic dealer application, you have to be sure that the pop-up blocker in your browser is turned off before, otherwise you will not be able to see the electronic signature window. So I want to show you real quick. If you're using Google Chrome, I want to show you exactly how to turn off your pop-up blocker, okay? So at the right of any screen that you're using, at the top right of Chrome browser, click on the then settings, and then under the privacy and security, click site settings there, okay? And then you're going to click on privacy and security, and then see where it says pop-ups and redirects blocks. You will certainly check that. And then you're going to allow pop-ups. So it's real easy to do there. And then that way you will easily be able to hit this electronic signature sign here. So if you would like to e-sign this application and you have a valid Texas driver's license, you're going to fill that information out and you can easily electronically sign this. And here you also see that you're going to enter, once again, your first name, your last name, and your driver's license. And then that takes you to what's called the certification of responsibility that can be used if you do have a driver's license from another state. You can print this form, sign it, and then easily upload it back into the e-licensing system. So don't forget to click on the blue upload button after you have selected your certification of responsibility to upload. And so then you're going to be directed to the state's secure payment portal that will allow you to pay your dealer's license and metal plate fees if that's applicable. You can either pay the fees associated with this application, all applications that you're waiting to submit, or you can work on another application as well. So you're going to see a payment summary page here, and then you're going to click proceed to pay. And remember, you can pay for your license either with a credit card or e-check, which is an electronic check. So if you do check the credit card option, you will be taken to the state's secure payment portal where you would enter your credit card contact information on this page, and then you would see an overview of your credit card information. And then you would be taken to a form that's a little bit different if you're paying with e-check. So you'll click submit payment, and now here you see that your application was submitted. So you will receive a system email confirming that your application was successfully received once the application is submitted for processing. So now you have submitted your official application for your Texas General Distinguishing Number. So congratulations. You know, at any time after your dealer's license application was submitted, you can check the application status by logging right back onto your e-licensing system account. And as what you can do here is you can just enter your application number right here easily, and that'll show you your application status. Or as I said, you can easily log right back into your account page, and there at the very top left, you can just click on My Applications. Remember all the options you can use at e-licensing. You can apply for your initial license. You can also renew your license, amend the license. You can order replacement plates, view saved applications, print your dealer's license. You can view those enforcement cases and also change general contact information as well. So, hey, congratulations. You have completed the first unit of the course. At the end of each unit, we're going to do a quick review of what we learned in that unit. So, in the first unit, we've learned that in order to have a dealer's license, you're going to basically submit criminal history if applicable. You'll have to have a business building and a display area. You've got to have that dealer surety bond, a business sign. You're going to maintain hours and records. You'll need to register your dealership name with the Secretary of State or possibly the county that your dealership is operating in. If you are
going to offer any type of financing, then you're going to have to get licensed with the OCCC. Got to fill out that I-9 employment eligibility form. You've got to obtain an employer identification number, take your dealer course, and then submit your application at eLICENSING. I want you to be aware that you can review each unit in this training course simply by visiting texasdealers.com, then scroll down and click on the Texas Dealer Videos link. On the texasdealers.com website, you can easily view all the training videos that are included in your course, at which time you may fast forward to the content that you want to review. Posting the videos on texasdealers.com website makes it really easy for you to review the training at any time after you have completed your dealer training course.